Peace and grace to y'all. This is Joe. I came all the way from my town to Houston to visit my friend, Sister Julie Samuels. She has a great testimony on being persecuted. She is from Pakistan originally, and she's going to share her testimony today. And I pray that y'all receive it and y'all understand it, because that's what she's doing with her kids that she couldn't have, but she'll say it in her testimony to make sure that they're alert with the situation, that with what she went through. She got thrown acid on her and shot or whatever, but she was going to share this with y'all. And I wanted to do this for the longest, but I had never had time to travel to Houston to talk to her. So here is Sister Julie Samuels.
Well, thank you, Brother Joe, for this opportunity to share. As Brother introduced me, Julie Samuel, I used to be Julie Aftab. And, excuse me, I have scar tissue in my throat, so that's why it does that. I am thankful to God for this opportunity that He gave me to serve Him past 24 years now. I know Brother since 2000, I think
2003, 2004 probably.
No, actually afterward.
Yeah,
after.
2010 probably, right?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
10. Yeah, 10. So, I am originally from Pakistan, and I was persecuted over there because it's not because I did something, it's because Lord is the one who chose me. And as growing up in Pakistan as a Christian, sixth generation of Christian, in my life I endured so many pain, suffering, but I was acid thrown at age 16, all because I believe in Jesus. And one Muslim man in 2002, June 1st, I started working at the public call center because I couldn't go to school. My family couldn't pay for my education. In Pakistan, we have to pay for schools and stuff, and especially as a Christian, it's not easy for us to get access to education without financial support or something. So I was not able to go to school, so I started working at age 12, and age 16, I was at that factory where I was working in the sewing factory. It closed, and then I started working at the June 1st. I started working at called Public Call Center. It's like back then in 2002, there was not any phones and anything like we have cell phone right now. So back then we didn't have that. People would have landline, and you will go to booth or telephone a booth and call. And a lot of people didn't know how to dial their number and stuff. So I was working as an operator over there. June 1st I started. June 15th, one Muslim man came in. He saw a cross around my neck, and he asked me if I was a Christian. And I said, yes, sir, I am a Christian. And plus, I didn't wear a hijab or anything. And he asked me if I was a Christian, and I said, yes. And then again, he asked me, he said, are you sure you are a Christian? I said, yes, I am a Christian. And he asked me third time, and I told him, I was 16 years old. And when you're 16 years old, or like teenagers, you ask them same question over and over, they get irritated. So he asked me third time, I told him, didn't you heard what I said? I am a Christian. Because, I was one of those cranky Christians. So I was one of those people, you live your life, I live my life. I don't bother you, you don't bother me. I never try to flash out my religion or something. Yeah. And plus, in our country, it's common for Muslim to tell us to change to Islam and this and that. And uh, I just told him no. And then he told me, he said, you work for so little money, and if you change to Islam, you will have everything, and everybody will support you and your family. And I told him that, I can support myself, and I don't need anybody's support.
So going to that, they were telling you to switch over to being a Muslim,
convert to.
but that you would have riches.
Yes.
So that's why the Word of God says He came for the poor, and we need to put our faith on Christ.
Yes.
And Christ will still bless you physically or whatever, and still bless you financially too eventually. But this guy was telling you, you convert to a Muslim, and you have a better future for you,
better life. And I told him no. And plus, I saw how I'm not here to degrade anybody. I'm here to tell the truth, what happened to me, and that's how what I lived in.
Yeah.
How in Islam women are treated, I don't need to tell anybody.
Yeah.
You guys can see it for yourself.
Yes.
All over the world, how women are treated in that part of the world. So in Islamic world, in Islamic world, that could be in the United States, it could be in any of those Islamic countries.
Yes.
How women's right and everything it is. So then he told me that if I change to Islam, he will give me all the everybody will support me, and he said that you working for so little money, and if you change to Islam, everybody will treat you like queen. And I told him, I don't want to be the dumb queen beaten to death in y'all's houses. So then after that, he told me that you're living in darkness and you're gonna go to hell and this and that. And I told him, I know where I am going. I am I was not really, honestly, I did not know much about Christianity. But my grandfather, when he gave me a cross, he told me, he said, this is not just a piece of jewelry to decoration, or for to make you to symbolize you with certain thing. It's a reminder that somebody has given his every breath so you can live. And my father was a Pentecostal. My father was a Catholic. My mom was Pentecostal. I was messed. I always I would never thought that I will stand up for my faith like that. Something like this happened, I will never thought that it can I can stand for. So then when he offered me money and he tried to tell me that he told me that I was living life in a gutter. In Islam, that a lot of time, if Christian people get jobs like working in a cleaning, sweeping the streets, or cleaning a sewer system, or working in people's houses as a maids and servants, or working in fields. And that's what he meant, that I was living life in gutter. And he told me, he said, if I change to Islam, he put in money on the table, and he said, if I change to Islam, everybody will support me and my family. And I said, I don't need anybody's support. God gave me 2 hands, 2 feet, perfectly healthy body. I don't need anybody's support. So afterward, this man told me that he was trying to save my soul, and he told me that if I change to Islam, I will go to heaven and all that again and again. And I told him, I know where I am going, and I don't need anybody's opinion. So he put in more money on the table, and he told me, take all the money and change to Islam. And I said no. And he said, you're living in a darkness. And I told him, I believe that I am living in light. And
a real quick question: if he put all that money there, a weak Christian, and you weren't really living.
No, we were below poverty line.
Yeah, but you weren't really living a Christian with faith, but for a Christian here in the United States, they would have grabbed that money, you know, a lot of them would have grabbed that money and changed, and that's what we're going to probably, because they're going to deny Christ at the end, you know. But thank God that you didn't do that.
See, money could buy me year worth of food, 2 years worth of food, right? Maybe lifetime of food, which I could live to 60 years, 70 years. But then this money would have ended, or I would have been dead, and what my eternity would happen.
Yeah. So that same day he left and did what he did to you.
So after
After you said no to the money.
I said no to the money, he got up and he grabbed me and he tried to rape me, and I pushed him, I slapped him, and I started screaming, yelling, making noises, and I told him, I'm a woman. That didn't mean that I am weak. Whole my life I was told that you're nobody, you're nothing. I was firstborn of 7, and being a girl in that society was not easy. Being a firstborn of 7, and my parents always told that you have been cursed, and after me there was a second girl. So we were like, I was firstborn, then secondborn was my sister, and like they in that custom or in that society, the boy have more value than girls.
Okay, and real quick question: was that from your parents, or that's from the Muslim people that you were not worth it?
Well, it was Muslim people, plus it's a society, right? That like if you live in that certain place, you become like them, right? But more of the society, my grandmother always told my mom, you never see a face of son. You're gonna have all the daughters. You're gonna have 7 daughters, and you are cursed and this and that.
Wow.
So this is just like it's like a more like a society thing.
Okay.
They prefer boy over girl.
Yeah.
And this is that part of the world. In India, they kill girls and they say boys.
I have a friend there in India, a pastor friend.
Yeah, and there is some part of the world they do, and in Pakistan they don't prefer girl over boy. And in Islamic world they don't prefer girl over boy. And so after that, this man, when I pushed him, slapped him, I threw his money at his face and I told him leave. And when he was trying to rape me, because in Islam, if women don't listen to you, you can scar her anyway, you can do anything. So she will never dare to stand up, and she'll be example to other, and the other woman will never be able to stand up against a man. So then this man, when he tried this, and when I was screaming and yelling and stuff, then he left. And before he was leaving, he said, I was trying to save your soul, and I will see if your Jesus will save you. Yes, I thought I was strong. Yes, I never like to show my weakness. That time I always say that boys never show their weakness. That's why everybody respect them. So I didn't want to show him that I was scared inside, but I didn't know what he meant by it either. Then when he said, I will see if your Jesus will save you, I thought he was talking about when I die and go to all that. And this is what my point of view was. So this is what my thought that point was. And I didn't know that this would happen. And about 30 or 45 minutes later, he came back and he brought acid, and he threw acid on my as I was sitting and I was waiting for my boss so I can tell him what happened. And before my boss came in, this man came and he just threw acid on me like this, and I turned and this side was burned.
You want to get nearer to the camera so they could see?
Yeah. So this side was burned and this arm was burned, and I did this, and this whole arm was burned from here. And then again the second man came in, and I was by myself, and second man came in and he he pushed me on the ground and he held me from my hair back. And the first man tried to pour acid into my throat, and then he said to they were saying that they're gonna destroy the mosque, said no to Islam. So after that, I was after that, this man left me there dying. My body was smoking, my skin was melting, and I was screaming and crying for help, and I made it out of that office. And when I came out of that office, I was standing in front of that shop. It was small booth, the office, like with the telephone booth and small table and chair. That was the office. So one lady was passing by, and when she saw me, and she threw her head cover over me, and she took me. Her house was right around the other side of the street, and she took me there, and she poured water on me. And water and acid don't go good together. So then the acid went deeper into my skin. Some people did caught those men. Some people took me to the hospital. Later on, police came. Police asked those men, why did you do it? And those men told them that, she had insulted Islam. That's why they done this to me. So then he, instead of helping me, the hospital administration and those people told my family that, we cannot put other people's life in risk for her. And they told my family, we can let her go. You can take her wherever, but we're not. And that people, when they were saying that we're gonna set hospital on fire if you treated her, I understand the hospital didn't want to get in trouble by those mob of people, and how they become, like, they don't care if life are lost or not.
So there was a mob. You were inside the hospital. There was a mob telling the administration that they were gonna just burn the hospital down or whatever. So they took you somewhere else.
My family took me to
where you were going somewhere else. They shot you. You said too.
That's later on.
That was later on.
Yes, and so they took me to the second hospital. That's where the doctor refused to treat me because when they found out what happened, and then my family took me to the third hospital. That's where the doctor still refused to do it, but the doctor told my mom, she's gonna die anyway, what's the point? And my mom said, she's still breathing.
Amen. Praise God.
She's still breathing. And I remember my mom crying and begging the doctor. And then finally the doctor said, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I was admitted in that hospital until 21 days. Those people tortured me day and night. The doctors and nurses over there.
Did they torture you because you were a Christian, or because
they were mad at me and I'm a Christian? The one who, according to them, I done the blasphemy. I didn't do it. They said that I done blasphemy by refusing to Islam. So I was, every morning they would put honey all over my wounds, dressing, and they would pull that dressing, and pieces of flesh from my body would come out, and they would curse at me, like nurses and the staff would curse at me and say that I deserve all that pain. And every morning I hated those people. Every morning I want those people to die the miserable death that I was dying. I want them to pay for what they were doing to me. So every single morning I prayed, before the dressing, that God, either take me or I don't want to live that's miserable life. And if I even had doubted my faith, that God, if you were real, why did you let this happen to me? Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you intervene and to make them pay for what they are doing or stop, do something. If you are real Jesus, why didn't you step in? And every single morning I used to pray that. Every single morning I wanted to die. I wanted those people to pay for. I hated them until 21 days later. I was pronounced dead for 15 minutes and 33 seconds. And
you were dead for 15 minutes
and 33 seconds.
33 seconds.
Yes. And that's the moment in my whole life came in front of me. And then that I used to be the one of those people, like I used to, like, if anybody got a headache, my mom would pray for them. And I would like say that, Mom, why are you bothering God? Why don't you pray? Instead of pray, why don't you do Tylenols to like somebody? And why you pray? And it came to the point watching her, and every time I was in hurt, or I was rejected, or every time I felt pain, I would sit and cry, and I would ask, if you are real God, you said that you made me, you don't make mistake. Now always people say God never make mistake, and if you didn't make me, if I'm not made by mistake, why do I am treated like that? Why do I am feeling like that? Why I'm suffering like that? And every time I prayed, I felt like this bubble around me, and the bubble felt like that so much peace and comfort that I had. And every time I had that, I could not tell you that the feeling of it.
That's the faith that comes in.
That's
the faith that's working in you, like from all the other apostles and disciples that died for Christ, or all these people that have died for Christ. When you call out to the Lord, it gives you that peace, and the hurt, you feel it, but you got more peace of God.
Yes.
In your body,
Yes.
Wow.
And then that's when I was when I used to feel that, and the day I was pronounced dead, he told me that was not a bubble, that was my arm wrapped around you, and I never left you there, I never left you now. I am with you. I suffered with you. You are not alone. And that's the day he said, a doctor told me I will not survive this attack, because 67% of my esophagus was damaged, and I was totally blind from my both eyes. And doctor said I will never be able to see, I will never be able to speak again. And according to medically, I was gonna live handicapped life, because this arm do not have any muscles here, anything, and this hand was like this. It was, wow. You could see my bone. There was no muscle, nothing. And
the other deal, they told you could have kids.
Yeah, that's later on, when I was diagnosed in cancer in 2012. Okay. So that's when, according to them, I would live handicapped life if I survived, but there was no chances of survival. And that's the day he said, you will never be handicapped, you will live for me. And I started, that's when I gave my life to him. That day I started following him, actually, not from my just for sake of that I was born in a Christian family, not because of I was given birth by a Christian mother or father, but that's the day I gave all the hatred, the pain, the suffering that I had, I put it on his feet, and I said, I'm not gonna carry the dead body over my shoulder. You forgive them, you judge them, I'll let you. And I do not remember those people's name anymore, because I don't remember. And yes, I do pray for them, not by name, because there is not one person involved in that. And I pray that Lord use them like they were Saul to me. They treated me like Saul done to your people. I pray that they become a Paul. They become a Paul.
And you love your enemies, so you pray for your
I
persecutors.
pray for them. I don't know about love, but Jesus, I told them, you love them, you hate them, I don't care. I pray for them that you use them for your glory.
So Matthew, this is what I've been teaching y'all. Matthew 5:43, but at 44, it says, "But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those that persecute you, so you could be sons of the Father who is in heaven." So you see, if you can't love your enemy and you can't pray for your persecutors, then you cannot be perfect. The way it says in 48, "You therefore must be perfect, like our heavenly Father is." That's where this has always been there, but we don't see it while we read it, because we have never done. This has never happened to us. This tribulation and this persecution, or whatever you're going through right here in the United States, is nothing compared to Sister Julie's life, and that's where that starts. That happens right there, and we're gonna still follow with a part 2 about this, but I wanted to share that with y'all. We're gonna continue with part 2. Thank you for watching.